So I don't know if anyone caught it, but when we had that little dream sequence with Katerina remembering her old life and she was talking to her friend about the visual novel, which she's technically currently in, she was talking about a hidden route. And hidden routes are something that is very common in visual novels and gaming in general. I don't think I really need to explain what a hidden route is, basically a hidden storyline that you have to probably 100% different parts of the game to be able to unlock, but pretty much the point is that most likely the hidden route that the friend of Katerina was talking about was most likely the student council president. And the reason why I say that, because it makes the most sense when you really think about how these recent episodes have been and how they've been presenting the student council president. So, example here is that we see him in this episode again. He pretty much says that he has no one he's interested in. He has no one he's currently in love with. He has no fiance. He doesn't really have any interest whatsoever, which pretty much goes alongside of what the friend of Katerina was saying, is that it's an incredibly hard and hidden route, which he's already fitting the description. But on top of that, he is a character within this story, and if there's anything we know, Katerina is literally a black hole, a supermassive black hole that just sucks everything in and makes them join her harem. And eventually, regardless if he is the hidden route or not, the student council president is definitely going to join Katerina's harem. It's just a matter of time. It's just right now he's probably on the, the outskirts of the black hole that is Katerina, and he's just slowly being, sucked in, and eventually there's just no coming back, and he's already getting too close to her because of just this episode alone, which, that's just something I need to talk about as well. When it comes to the harem that, Katerina is currently in, there's a lot of things that happen within this episode that kind of spices up the roles of the characters and where their positions technically are. And one of those is Sophia. Sophia is a very sweet girl. So far from what we've seen of her, she's sweet, she's earnest, and what she does within this episode with her brother and Katerina is just something that really shows her personality, and that even though she is obviously a part of Katerina's harem, she's someone that is kind of too shy or not assertive enough to be able to kind of fight for Katerina, but she wants her brother's happiness. And you can see with her backing out, basically, it's like, here, go for it, I'll leave you alone. It pretty much means that she is satisfied if her brother gets Katerina, and she's just able to be like, say, a sister-in-law, etc., which I think is just very adorable, and it really just goes to show that Sophia doesn't really have any ulterior motive in terms of being evil or whatever, really playing dirty to win. She's just wanting the happiness for Katerina and wanting the happiness for her brother, and I think it's just truly sweet. I really think it's a really adorable moment of the episode that many are not going to talk about. I think it's something that's just truly cute from this episode. But, okay. Let's get into something else, which is Mary. Mary, not to be mistaken for Maria, which is, a character also in the series. I don't know why we have Mary and, Maria, in the same series when they sound so similar depending on how you say it. But point is, though, Mary as a character, we get to see a little bit more of her personality within this episode. She's someone that shows a tendency to be a little bit more yandere, actually, which is something that could definitely lead into, as I've been talking about, conflict. As I said, there's definitely going to have to be something. And looking at, Mary as a character and how she was kind of displaying herself, there was two instances that pretty much showed that she is slightly yandere, or at the very least, a little bit more competitive, and definitely someone that could potentially cause problems for others, because she's like, oh, I almost lost my chance to, stay with the pack, or I almost, lost my lead, when she almost wasn't invited to go on that picnic in the middle of this episode. But then, when she had the person that she's technically romanced to falling for Katerina, Alan, and, he's like, I made this song for you for someone that's very dear to me and all that, and pretty much he was exposed that he made it for someone he loved, and even Katerina, even though she's dense, picked up on that. Mary was very upset because obviously, her fiancé is falling for Katerina, and she's not upset that her fiancé is falling for, Katerina because she's, upset with him. She's upset because she wants Katerina for herself, and I find that funny, but it shows that her personality, she's definitely going to probably start playing some form of, I guess, big plan to be able to win Katerina over and have her for herself. So I'm interested to see where that element of the story is going to go. Now, another element to talk about, which I think is very interesting, is the whole Sophia and Katerina dynamic. Now, I know I already talked about how cute the scene was within this episode, but you're not going to tell me that Sophia and Katerina are not the same people from the other world, and hear me out. When they first met a few episodes back, Katerina herself said that Sophia reminded her a lot of her friend, and when you see the design of Katerina's friend within this episode, they do look very identical, and they both like games, they both like novels, etc. They were best buds, and seeing how Sophia as an individual is kind of very close, like a bestie with Katerina, I'm starting to feel like maybe some of the people within Katerina's life have been reincarnated into this world, and Sophia is obviously the best friend of Katerina in the other world. I'm starting to think that's one of the elements that's going on behind the scenes. I could be wrong, but I do think that is necessarily the case. Now anyways, I want to talk about one other detail, which is Katerina and her competitive nature with Alan. So we know Alan, he has a crush on Katerina, and they've always had this like back and forth competition since they were very young, and this episode brings that back up once again, where they kind of go up against each other and they try to see who can get to the finish line or furthest first on the boats. And you see Alan, he's going very quick and all that, and then all of a sudden you see Katerina just fly on by him, and this scene is something that kind of reminds you why Katerina is not gotten, I guess, a little bit chunky, because we know she eats a lot of sweets. I mean, let's be honest here, the only doom route she currently has was potentially developing, let's say, diabetes or something, because of just how many sweets she actually eats. But when you look at this episode, you're reminded the fact the reason why that is not necessarily a doom flag for her is because she works out constantly. When I mean work out, I mean she tills the fields, she farms, and farming is not easy work, especially in medieval times like they're currently in. Farming is not easy. There wasn't as advanced techniques as there is currently today. Even if Katerina is somewhat aware of those techniques, it is still a lot harder. But not just that, even with our current today techniques, farming takes a lot of energy out of you. It's really, really difficult work. Plowing the field, having the weeds pulled out, watering, etc. So much moving around and picking stuff up. It wears you out. And then the sun beating down on you and just draining your energy, basically. Obviously, farming takes a lot of stamina. And Katerina has obviously been constant, very consistent with farming since pretty much she was a kid. And on top of that, she has always climbed trees and done things where she's continuously moving around without stopping, so it kind of makes sense why that isn't a doom flag for her. It's a reminder that she is really jacked. Like, Katerina is straight up, she's strong. Like, honestly, she is probably the strongest character in terms of physical strength in the entire cast. But on top of that as well, it kind of explains why she's a little bit dense, is because she's pretty much 100% muscle brain. So yeah, I think though this episode does a good job of kind of expanding upon Katerina's harem, but on top of that, giving a little bit more details to some of the characters. And I do think, like I've already said in this video, that the student council president is definitely going to be someone that's going to play a huge role in the upcoming episodes. I'm excited, honestly, because, as much as I love this cutesy stuff, and the very, I guess, awesome, harem that's been developing here in these past few episodes, I am looking forward to seeing this hidden route and more doom flags popping up with Katerina starting to worry. So we'll see where it's going to go. So a few more details I would like to talk about before I wrap up this video. I really do appreciate Alan's spotlight within this episode, besides just his brief competition with, Katerina. I'm very pleased to see my boy getting to have his little piano session, everybody listening in, respecting him, and, him being more confident and not feeling, like, inferior to his brother. I just think it's a really wonderful scene just to see how far he's come, his growth as a person, and I don't know, I really like characters like that just overcome an inferiority complex, and I have a soft spot for characters like Alan, and I think many can agree with me that he's just a fantastic character. I hope we get more of him as, this series continues to progress. Oh yes, and so one last thing before I wrap up the video. We had a lot of Sophia, we had a lot of Mary, we had a lot of Alan, we had a lot of even Gerald, but we did not get a lot of Maria. which is honestly kind of disappointing. I mean, after such a strong introduction and, you know, the beautiful flashback we got in the recent episode, I was just really hoping to get more of her character, but obviously she wasn't really shown. I don't even think she really had any dialogue really in this episode. She only had, like, she was happy to be there, but that was it. There really wasn't many scenes of her, which is just honestly really sad. I hope we get more of her in the next episode. But I'll leave it at that. I love you guys. You have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. If you enjoy my content, you know, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like. And if you want to get notified for whenever I upload a video, please click the bell icon down below. And with that, Chibi out.